So just so we're on the record, it got over $1 million and you kept it.
Yep. I almost moved it too at the national. I almost moved it once for 100,000. Ended up keeping it, so that worked out. But I
Yep.
also almost moved it for close to $1 million. Didn't work out. Wish it did.
All right, what's going on, guys? We are back with a very special guest on today's podcast. Out of every guest we've ever been fortunate enough to interview on here, I would probably say the gentleman to my left here is probably the person in the industry I've known the longest. Mike Kantz, the gentleman joining me here today, is, in my opinion, one of the experts in the industry. Mike has been around a while, has done some really, really cool things, and I just think knows cards incredibly well and has built some really cool businesses. eBay consignment business he's got going on has built into a big time, venture here, and we're going to learn more about that. But welcome to the pod, Mike. It's an honor to have you on here.
Yeah, appreciate you having me. Been a big fan, of our relationship and everything. Has been great, so more than happy to be here.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate you guys flying in. We've been fortunate enough to have some guests travel. You guys just hopped on a plane, came down here from Boston. In my opinion, one of the best card cities in the world.
Yeah.
But I mentioned earlier, we've known each other a while, decade plus. But for those that are listening that don't really know you or your story, who are you and how did we get here?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I'm Mike. Been a lifelong collector since I was 12 years old. In 2006, I started opening just blaster boxes from Target and Walmart. 2006 Topps Baseball was my thing, so I had the 9 pocket binder pages and
Yep.
Filled in the gaps with the sets, and that was all I knew about cards. That's what I thought the entire industry was. Then kind of got more and more into it, started buying the Beckett magazine and valuing my cards, the quarters, the 50 cents, the dollars. And then from that, learning that like, wow, there are cooler cards out there. So just kind of snowballed from that, started
Yep.
going to local shows, buying cards and selling and trading. Found that there's a lot of a card presence online. So started doing a lot of online stuff and then, just stuck with it. And 10 years later, I became one of the biggest eBay sellers. This was about, 2016, 2017, and just kind of put everything through eBay, and it's been great and kind of grew the eBay business from there.
So you're very humble, very modest around, building what you've built. So I'm excited to unpack more of this here. I've seen the growth through time, and as someone who's been in the industry 20 years like you, I mean, it's going to be really cool to get into this because we can talk about some of our early deals that didn't go through, the Ben Simmons one I'll never forget. Ben Simmons and Derek Carr collection.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of stuff to get into here because I think you're very modest about like what you've built and how you've built it. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. But you mentioned eBay. Like, how long? Like, when did you get on eBay? Because now you run a major consignment business. That didn't always happen.
Yeah.
So when did you get on eBay, and really, how did we get to like here with you in consignment?
Yep. So I've been on eBay since 2008, just as a casual, buyer, seller.
Yep.
And funny side story, when I made my eBay account, I was too young to have an eBay account because I was 14. I believe you had to be like 18 or something.
Yep.
So, and I always say I've had the eBay account for more than half of my life. So it started in 2008 on eBay, just, bought stuff, sold stuff, like I said.
Yep.
It really wasn't until, 2016, 2017 where the volume started picking up. And even back then it was like, you sell a couple $100,000 a year in 2016 on eBay, like you're one of their top sellers. Like that's a lot.
Yep.
And, just kind of grew with that as the years went on. And we ended up doing enough volume to be considered one of their top sellers, and they reached out to us and said, hey, you're one of our top sellers. Are you interested in growing with eBay, and in return we can offer you this and that.
Yeah.
So I took it. It really helped us grow, and we kind of got to the point where we were growing too fast, and we were told this is kind of the next expectation, the next level, and I realized this is the only way that we can sustain this is to offer a little bit of consignment.
Yep.
So this was about 2020, 2021. So we thought maybe casually take some consignment from friends, help them out, just add to our numbers a little bit. And then it just kind of took off and blew up.
And that's what I was going to say was in the early days of the consignment business for you, it was mostly like friends and more private things, right? It wasn't super like public.
Yeah, no, it was just like, hey, my friend sends me stuff, or, I offered to a couple people. There was no like advertised service. We didn't really want it to be that way. We didn't want to get a lot of stuff. We just wanted to help our numbers, help some friends out.
I remember these days. Yeah. I remember sending in a couple cards, and it was a lot more like in-house. It wasn't as like big of a deal. Obviously, it's a much bigger deal now, and we'll get into what it's grown into. But you said, so when were you taking consignment for like the first time? Like, would that have been any idea of like when the consignment like more publicly would have been?
Yeah, I want to say like probably late 2021, maybe early 2022 was where we launched like a separate Instagram page called Consign with MC, which is more directed at our consignments because, my main account at that time, I was posting a lot of my buy, sell, trade deals on my own. So I didn't want to mix and match.
Yep.
So I think it was about then when we created that account that it started getting a lot of traction and, a lot of word of mouth and people telling other people. And next thing you know, we were getting a lot more volume.
So what did you learn so the early days, right? You're getting into consignment, you separate the Instagram pages. You have so much experience in yourself in the industry, on eBay. Like you're such a big player in the market. Like we can get into a second here some of the deals, the cards, some of the things you've made happen over the years. But what did you learn in those first couple months here starting a consignment business? Because that's from what you were doing, just buying, selling on your own, to then go to consignment. What did you learn in those first couple months?
Yeah, so the biggest thing I learned was they are very different. When it's all your own stuff, you just kind of do it how you want it at your own pace, your own organization stuff. Building a consignment operation requires multiple people versus doing the wheeling and dealing. You can do it by yourself or with one other person. So it really helped teach me kind of how we need to run this correctly, processes, and, giving people, delegating the work to people, and kind of organization's a huge thing that I've learned from it because, you have to be organized. I can't come to you and say, hey, like, I don't remember what you sent me, but some of it's sold. Like, it's got to be very, very exact.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's one of the things, you mentioned people. I've been fortunate enough to, send you guys cards over the years for consignment. Mm-hmm. I know we've done a couple like videos opening some mail days, and, I think one of the things that stands out like in my opinion of like you guys, and I'm curious on like this route for the business, but it seemed like early on to me that you guys prioritized customer service. Yeah. Every time, obviously we've known each other for a while. I did not know Moody as well. Mm-hmm. When our relationship started for the consignment piece, and we were sending in some stuff. But it seemed like you guys had prioritized the customer service piece so early on because it's always been top notch. Was that intentional?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of like a side effect of how we made our processes and how we wanted things to look. And I think the side effect was great customer service. And then we took that and ran with it. Obviously this whole thing can't run without the incredible team that we have to begin with. I know you mentioned Moody, and then there's a whole lot of other people behind the scenes who make everything happen. But yeah, customer service is our biggest focus at this point. Just because you can't just copy and paste great customer service. Like competitors can't say, I want to get into customer service. Yeah. All of a sudden we're competing in that arena with them. You can send your cards to a bunch of different places.
Sure.
You probably can get about the same value and overall, no matter where you send it, depending on the card type. So the one way to stand out that we kind of took and ran was customer service. We want everyone to feel like you're talking to a friend. You reach out, you shoot a text, you get an answer quickly, and it's not like leaving you with questions that you just can't figure out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it has definitely been something, we've noticed from the beginning. Obviously, we try to send cards, periodically when we can, but every time like we've ever had a question, an issue with the title, like anything at all, it's dealt with, satisfaction basically immediately. But on top of that, like I have seen it because we were friends. Like I've seen the business evolve from, where it started when it was kind of like private to more, well, what now, way more public, way bigger. Like you run MC Mondays, you run monthly showcases. You've also, I know have built a website. Like walk me through like when some of these major changes started happening and what those have been like.
Yeah. So, when we first started, it was literally all manual by hand. We had no like automation system website, anything like that. So we were downloading eBay order reports, filtering out all of your stuff, sending you this file. And it's, it takes time.
Forever.
That we were doing that for a while and realized like you can only do so much stuff that way. So that was a big thing we wanted to tackle.
Yep.
And then also people not being able to see their listings easily. In the early days, if you wanted to see what you sent us, you got to search each card on eBay. Like there was no way to just see it all. So, the website was a huge solution to that. Now you see your items real time. You see the bid price real time, the sale price real time. All of the sales data, payout, all that is right there. And it's amazing because something that used to take us 10 minutes or so to do, and we had to do 50 of them in a day, is now automatically done.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember getting the text messages in the morning from like Moody after the night after an auction. It'd be like, hey, here's what you sold. Here's what it was worth. Here's the fees. And I would imagine as you're trying to grow and scale a business, to do that to, a lot of people on a daily basis manually would be extremely taxing.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you look at like before there were like computers or PDFs and you had all the file cabinets and you had to like dig through that. That's what it makes me think of like the way we used to do some of these things.
Yeah, it seems so crazy because it's not that long ago. Like, this has been a pretty quick, you guys have built something special really, really quickly. I would imagine a piece of the growth and the success has come from some of the bigger, auctions that you guys run.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more. Again, I kind of hinted at it, but like monthly showcases one, and then the MC Mondays. Like, how did those come about?
Yeah, so these came about in an interesting way because my prior to consignment history was I was a wheeler dealer, high end buy sell trade. Mm-hmm. Still do a little bit, but main focus is consignment now.
Yep.
My biggest issue when I would look at comps at a different card is I would see things and say, I would have bought that. Like if I knew that was ending, I would have bought that just across all platforms. So a solution that I came up with was like, what if we offered a specialized auction that MC Monday ends every Monday, and all of these buyers know, okay, Mondays, I need to keep an eye on what's ending with them, instead of saying I need to check every day of the week, and if I'm busy or forget, I might miss out on a high-end card.
Yep.
So I think just the focus auction aspect and the specialization of it has been huge. It's been something that really we haven't seen any people try and do among competitors either. So it's been a good way to stand out. But I think that the clients love it. We like it because it's like a whole separate branch of our business. Buyers love it too because they come in. Some of these guys come in, they bid on 10 cards they want, and they know Monday's the day to check it, and they don't have to sit and browse eBay every day.
And I think the cool thing, what we did early on is like, if there was something like we had tried to put up on like Whatnot a couple times, it couldn't sell, or like we were in it right and wanted to move it, or just like, again, trying to free up cash flow. Like what we'd looked at it early on, and this is why like I like the the Monday thing is like we could turn it into something else we had use for. And like with MC Monday, I knew what night some of the premier auctions were ending, so like we could get on there and be like, okay, well, I'm going to free up this cash flow, but I'm going to put it into something I have more use for, something I believe in, a quarterback before the season. So I can tell you as like the buyer, like you mentioned, like I have found a lot of use for it.
Yeah.
But you mentioned a point in there, and I want to kind of hit on this. You're like, yeah, before consignment, I used to be like a, higher end seller, flipper. I think that's probably, again, being modest. As someone who has not bought some of the crazy stuff you have bought and acquired over the years, how did you go from quarter and 50-cent and dollar cards in a Beckett binder in 2006 with Topps Baseball to buying Tom Brady contenders, Super Bowl ticket autos to 100 and the peak of COVID? Like how did that happen?
I always use the snowball reference, like compound interest type of thing. You start in one aspect, flip those $5 cards, then you flip the $10 cards all the way up. A key turning point was in 2011 when Bryce Harper Bowman Chromes came out. I actually bought an orange auto. I was in high school. I bought an orange auto for like $1,300, which was insane for an orange auto, and now it's like the top orange auto is probably $10,000.
Wow.
So I bought the Bryce Harper orange auto for around the $1,300. Graded it, got a 9.5. I ended up selling it for a little under $3,000, and that was like my light bulb moment of, wow, like how can I do this again? Like, if I can do this X amount of times, we can get something going here. So, it was building my way up to the point of being able to buy and flip a $1,300 card. That really kind of got me into where I was today. And the more you do it, the higher end you go. It gets a little easier as you become more experienced and have better connections. So kind of once I got to that point, it was a lot easier to get from there to now versus from quarter cards to $1,300.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's not one of those things that just kind of like happened overnight. But again, as someone that's seen it, it's funny. I don't know if I've ever told this story publicly. I think you and I've talked about it before, but it's kind of funny. I don't know how much you remember of this, but this would have been 2017.
Okay.
It would have been at the Moeller show.
Okay.
The 2017 NFL draft was when like we were at. It was like you, me,
it's like
Ryan, a couple other guys. We were at a little restaurant at Cincinnati at the Moeller High School show. You guys were like, we go down there every year. You stay at this little hotel, go to the show. We went to like a place to eat beforehand. And this is when like Ben Simmons stuff was hot. This is the summer before Derek Carr blew up.
Yeah.
And you and I were negotiating in a hotel room. I was going to sell like 90% of my collection at the time.
Yep, I remember.
And it was he's like, I remember. It was like, I'm going to say 5 2-row boxes of stuff.
Yeah.
And it had 3 Ben's. I'll never forget this deal as long as I'm alive. It had 3 Ben Simmons orange Prism rookies out of 25. They were retail exclusive.
Yeah, the waves, right?
Yeah, orange waves to 25. They were huge cards. I mean, again, huge being retrospective now is like they were small.
Yeah.
But at the time, I think they were like $1,000 a piece. And I had a huge Derek Carr collection. And Fang actually knows this story. Matt Fang, someone we're going to have on here before too long. But we were buying Derek Carr. And this is right before Vegas Dave had started talking about Derek Carr stuff, and it had like really blown up going into the next summer where he was like MVP. Like if he didn't break his ankle, would have like won MVP. But I had like the ice auto of Derek Carr.
Yeah.
I had some crazy Derek Carr collections. And you and I had talked for hours about this collection at this show. It was in a hotel room.
Yep.
And do you remember what happened? Do you remember it, like how this deal ended?
Yeah, I mean we went back and forth ish, and I think we were only off by a very small amount.
$1,000.
And $1,000 back then was a lot.
I would not budge. You came up, I would not come down another penny.
Yeah.
It was $16,000 or $17,000. And I remember I was like, I can't do it. And you're like, yeah, it makes sense. Like we walked away. We're still friends to this day. And it's crazy looking back on it. I ended up moving the Derek Carrs before the National, or some of them at the National, some of them before the National. But it's at the time, like, again, when Derek Carr blew up, I use this a lot, but like Derek Carr, like that deal I made for that Derek Carr early on, this would have been 2016, 2017, turned it into a bunch more Derek Carrs.
Yeah.
He blew up. Not selling that deal, for sure, had some help on the trajectory of my card venture because I sold those Derek cars when he went crazy. I mean, the cracked ice. I sold on eBay as a PS10 for like $3,500.
Yeah, which again was a huge number for a
Huge
card
number
back
at the
then.
card,
Yeah,
for sure. But just crazy to look back on that deal again. It's one of those deals that really stands out to me in life, right? Because we're friends.
Yeah.
But also like I think it was like at a key turning point in my like card journey.
Yeah.
You had to like it's just it's one of those cards, those deals I look back on. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you think about like, what if you did the deal? Like, how different would things be
For sure
today? You know, like it's crazy.
Yeah, I used some of those cards. I sold some of those cards at the National that year. That was when I remember I bought a lot of stuff like off Adam Rowe when he set up at the National that year. It was like I wanted to turn it into like a sure thing. So I bought Rodgers, I bought Jordan inserts, and I bought LeBron autos.
It's the right stuff,
I ended up selling a lot of them to you the
Yeah.
next summer when I needed to pay for my wedding. I remember selling a Michael Jordan TakeIt2.net 9.5 gem mint to pay for my wedding, among many other things. I sold that card to you, and I'm like, I regret that one.
Yeah, so it sounds like the moral of the story is, you know, if you don't do the big deal, you may become the next card collector too.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. That's not sure that's a great moral to the story, but
No,
it's
just joking.
yeah, it's just cool to look back on and see that, you know, again, that was, I mean, 8-9 years ago. But again, I wanted to hit more on like the idea that like you have been buying big collections, cool cards for a long time. And I think, as you know, I've talked before in the pod, like I think you're just one of those people that has known so much about the industry for so long. And again, I think you're modest around some of the cool things you have bought over the years.
Maybe a little, yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little.
Yeah.
Coolest card you've ever bought in your time in cards. Coolest card. One stands out.
Oh man, it's got to be the Brady championship ticket. Like we were talking about, you know, right before we started. Like when I bought that card on eBay, I took a screen record of me clicking to buy it now, and I sent it to you, sent it to a few friends, and you were just saying how you remember that vividly.
Remember it. I remember where I was when you sent me the video.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the whole thing too, like it was yesterday. This was like 7 or 8 years ago at this point.
Biggest card you've ever bought at the time?
Oh yeah, by far. I paid $82,500 for it, which was going rate, and that was a lot. I mean, it still is a lot, but like back in that in that era of cards, that was a ton.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's got to be the coolest, maybe because I have a little bias to being a Brady fan.
Yep.
You know, I've owned a lot of stuff. I've owned a lot of cool stuff. A lot of it comes and goes, and you become a little bit numb when it comes and goes so many times. So I'm sure there's a lot of other really cool cards, but that's like the first one, no hesitation, that sticks out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is one of those ones, again, I will always remember. Just so cool at the time because it was such, I think that was like early COVID days. That was like right as the market was really starting to heat up. Am I right?
It was like, I think it was a year or two before things got crazy. Yeah. Because that card went from 82K all the way to like $1.2 million, and I'm like, I'm never selling it. You know, it's gonna go higher, and then it ended up coming back down. I mean, I think it's like 200 something now. I ended up selling it at the low point. I still did well off my buy and everything, but yeah, I mean, sometimes
turned down so just so we're on the record, it got over $1 million and you kept it.
Yep, I almost moved it too at the National.
That's,
you know, a year or two after I bought it, I almost moved it. I almost moved it once for 100,000, ended up keeping it, so that worked out. But I also almost moved it for close to $1 million. Didn't work out. Wish it did, but I've also moved cards that
and that's the thing.
are less now. So
that's what I was gonna say. Is like you know, it's easy to say, oh wow, like why wouldn't you do that? But it's like there's also cards you would say on the other end of the spectrum that you've moved that are not. That are the other end of this that you moved at $1 million that are not worth $1 million now.
Yeah, I think if you took every card I've ever owned and you took the value of what I sold it for at the moment,
pretty good.
And you took it to right now, I think I'd still be happy overall.
Still feel pretty good.
You can't keep it all. You got to keep
100%. And again, I think I credit that to you a lot. I remember we were filming some content many years ago when we were doing some different series on like YouTube, and you said something on that clip, and I'll never forget it. But it talks about like there's no emotion in business. It is. There's the relationship piece that matters, but like the dollars and cents. Like if you're making money, it's keeping the cash flow moving. Business doesn't have emotion in it, and I think that's one thing I really took to heart from you is that like one, to keep cash flow coming in, like the liquidity piece is so important, but like
Yeah.
making money, if your goal is to make money on it, like there is an opportunity. Business doesn't care if you paid $500 for something. It doesn't care if you paid $1,000 for something.
Yeah.
It does not care. And I think that's one thing I really took from our last conversation.
Yeah, I mean it's been a big thing of mine. Like you just have to keep things moving. You know, if the numbers make sense on the cards, you got to sell them. Obviously, you keep some stuff, you stash stuff, you have PC, all that. But if you're going to be doing this for a business, you're not going to get very far if
Yep.
you refuse to sell anything or
Yep.
you're difficult to deal with.
Yep. Now you said something there. You said if the numbers make sense. I want to go back to the consignment piece because I saw some. I've seen some content on this on social lately, and I think it's one thing that is kind of like known in the industry but isn't really talked about. Any context or ideas on why like Trae Young and Jaren Jackson stuff moves on eBay but doesn't ever seem to get paid for? Like, is that like a industry rumor, or do you guys struggle with the same?
Yeah, it is
same
not
results?
it is the furthest thing from a rumor.
So 100% factual.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we struggle with it a lot. I know other eBay sellers struggle with it. You see all the memes. You see like Lameme loves to
Yep.
post about it and everything. And I think what happened was somebody created a bunch of fake accounts or hired people overseas to just create eBay accounts and bid on these things. And
But this has been going on for a while. Like,
yeah,
this is not a new thing.
it's been
I mean, it's
years
been a hobby
and-
joke for years.
Yeah, and to give eBay credit, they are very aware. If you say any of those names to them, they know exactly what you're going to say next.
Wow.
And they are working to do something about it. It's just tough when people are creating accounts every second just to bid on that one card. But to give them their flowers, they are working on it. I do think this problem will be fixed at some point.
So do you, if you were to run 50 Jaren Jacksons, 50 Trae Youngs out of 100, like, are a lot getting paid for? Is it very little? Like
50, if 100 total ended in the same night, you might be able to beat those guys a little bit because they can't create that many fake accounts. But, I would love to answer your question as like, I would say probably 45 are not getting paid.
Interesting. So it's a pretty high, like, I would imagine that's pretty high for you on like non-paying, like athletes. Like, I don't think it's going to be anywhere near that for most other athletes.
It's funny because our overall unpaid items, and this is a huge thing that people think, you sell on eBay, no one's going to pay, it's a mess. Probably about 2.5%, if not less % of all of our sales go unpaid.
Yep.
And then if you pull out the Trae Youngs, the Jaren Jacksons, and a couple other players this happens with, you're probably looking at like 1.5%, maybe 2%. So that theoretically, you send us 200 cards, 3 or 4 are going to go unpaid. That's a pretty good result.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So on the opposite end of that, like on, the opposite end of athletes going unpaid, who are the names you guys are seeing right now? This is going to come out the week of the National. The market has been, I would tell you, has been pretty hot lately. Mm-hmm. Who are some of the names you guys are seeing come through that are like doing better than expected pretty consistently?
Yeah, I mean, Ohtani is crazy. His stuff always seems to sell higher than we expect it. Obviously, Jordan, LeBron, Kobe seem to be going up every single day for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
So, you can always expect a great result with an Ohtani, Jordan, LeBron, Kobe. Not really a player-specific thing, but vintage has been really, really hot lately, especially with good eye appeal. I think there's been a huge movement towards eye appeal.
Okay.
And then just really, like, everything's hot right now. I mean, the market's come back a lot from after the post-COVID.
Yep.
That not even crash, but the post-COVID dip.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And it's, like, hard to pinpoint what is hot because so many things, like us in the office, we're always like, did you see what that sold for? Like, it did $400. I thought it was like $30 and things like that. So the entire market's just in an amazing place right now.
So as you say that, heading into, the National, what are your expectations this year for the National itself, like as a show for the industry? And then, I'm assuming you guys have some plans for, a booth and such?
Yeah. So I think, I say it every year, I think it's going to be the best National yet. And I'm not just saying that. I truly believe it will be.
Okay.
Maybe rival the COVID National was the
Yeah.
second best ever.
Crazy.
I think it's going to be a great show. I think the hobby's in an insane place right now. I think there's just so many new people. I think Fanatics has brought a whole lot of people in. You get athletes, celebrities.
Yep.
That only widens the reach. But yeah, it seems like there's a lot of people moving towards like these grail cards. Consolidation has been a big thing over the last year or so. So I'm expecting to see a lot of, we'll give you 50 cards towards this one card, and
So trading up.
And I know we're a consignment business. We do mainly consignment for what you see online, but at the National, like, we have our own inventory. Me and Matt Fang, we work together a lot on all the inventory and buy sell trade. So like, that's my one time a year I get to be back in the action, and I'm expecting it to be amazing.
Yep. Yeah, we've talked about it before on some of the podcasts, but like, there's been a lot of positive momentum. Like, we run a show here 5 minutes away, 5 minutes from the shop. Grove City Card Fest. We went to Fanatics Fest. Like, we've been at some shows lately, and there's been a lot of like energy. Yeah. And we went to Nashville and Cincinnati recently, and a lot of dealers had said like, "Hey, I'm holding stuff back for the National." Like, but there have been dealers just like, I've talked to some friends who like couldn't keep inventory in if they were willing to sell it. It seemed like there's just a lot of good momentum heading into the National this year. Again, like, and I would echo what you said. Like, I feel like I say this every year. Like, it's the National. It's right before the sports come back, but like, it feels really good right now with where we are heading.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things, I don't know if I'm the most interested. That's probably not a fair statement, but like, I think selfishly I'm interested in it. It's like, this is the last National. Panini has the basketball license. What is the market, again, like, not more of a rhetorical question, but like, what is the market going to be like with Topps transitioning? This is going to be, next year they have both the licenses.
Yeah.
This is the last one. Panini has basketball. The national exclusives are so big. The market is on fire. It's in Chicago for the first of 3 years. It seems like a really healthy spot for the market and a lot of positive energy as we head into the biggest card show in the world.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, Topps, Fanatics, they're just going to keep pumping out these amazing chase cards. You showed me the Ohtani Judge dual logo man, and then you have the things like the USA triple, and like, those cards get a ton of press. I mean, I was getting a haircut 2 days ago, and I was just talking to the barber, and like, he doesn't know about cards, but he mentioned the Olympic triple.
Really?
Yeah, and he like, that card's all over the news and everything, and that might get people to say, I used to be in the cards, or I have some cards, let me dust them off and create their love for the hobby again.
Yep.
So things like that, I think when you have the basketball license and you're putting logo man auto, LeBron Lakers logo man auto,
Cooper Flag debut patch auto.
Yeah, Cooper Flag debut. I'm sure they're going to come out with some sort of like flagship high end product with an RPA.
Yep.
I think it's just getting started, honestly.
I would agree. Quick side note, quick question. I think you're, I'm going to rule you as an industry expert here.
All right.
Is the debut patch auto, quick question, because I've talked about this before and I will die on this hill. Is the debut patch auto the best card you could make of a player? Is it the best card Paul Skeens, like, let's use Paul Skeens for an example. Is it the best card Paul Skeens will ever have?
I think that answer is sport specific.
Interesting.
For one.
Interesting.
In baseball, I think you can argue yes a lot more because there's 162 games. There's a whole lot of jerseys. Players can play for, 10, 15, 20 years like it's nothing.
Yep.
So baseball, I would say yes. More likely yes. Football, I would also maybe be even stronger of a yes because you only have 17 games a season.
Yep, sure.
And the game-worn jersey is a lot harder to come by.
Yep.
But then you get into basketball, and I don't know if the hobby will ever move away from thinking logo men are the absolute best.
Yep.
And I personally, I do think that like a logo man will always be
superior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
interesting debate.
Yeah.
I never thought about it like that. I always had said that it patch auto game used on card from the best player in the world's first ever game in a sport is as good as it gets.
Yeah,
but a logo man 101 patch auto from winning a finals or their first game. Like,
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see how those logo mans get, evolved. I think the big thing though is like you're never gonna get the debut logo man. Like Skeen's debut jersey is probably in
Cooperstown.
yeah, it's gonna be Cooperstown one day. I mean, it's
Yeah.
probably in his like house right now, but it's
Yeah.
like that jersey, like a patch card can be put on the jersey and removed. The logo man probably has to be sold through the jersey and then put into a card.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
that's where I think the debut patch coming off and on the jersey makes it a little bit more accessible, and it's from that specific game. Again, just a random thing. I
agree.
It's been a topic I've brought up here on the podcast a few times, and it's one of those things, especially with Topps taking over some of the licensing. Complete 360 to end it, but
maybe we get like a logo man debut patch.
Yeah, I'm
card
saying you
of,
could totally
of
adjust
somebody
it.
in one card one day. Maybe this is some idea for Topps.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do when we're sitting here from a year from now before the National, and they have all of the licensing.
Yeah, I mean, think about Dynasty and.
They've done a great job on royalty.
Royalty.
Tennis was really good.
Yeah.
UFC was really good.
Yeah.
They're supposed to have basketball. They previewed it not long ago on their Topps Instagram page. Like, it looks really, really good. I think royalty is going to be one of their like hit products. I think they've done a really good job on it.
Yeah.
But we talk about sitting here a year from now. But if we could go the other way, if you could start over, if you were starting over today, you've been in this hobby 20 years. If you were starting over today, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give yourself?
Yeah, I would say, just to trust your instincts, go for it, take that leap. I've done that a lot of times, and sometimes it worked out, sometimes it doesn't. But I also early on was afraid to do a lot of things that if I did it would have been really good. And, and I think if I took a little more risk early on, maybe that would have fast tracked me a little more than that 2006 to 2011 period that took me from quarter 50-cent dollar to, $1,500, $3,000. So something like that. I think a lot of people, they don't want to lose. They're afraid to lose, which is very fair. And by default, if you're afraid to lose, and maybe you don't take as many chances because of it. So I think if you take the chances, do the right thing, and you hit on a couple, like the results can really show.
Yep. And I think the big thing that in there with the risk piece is, you're going to get some lessons out of losing as well. Oh, yeah. Like, again, you're going to learn in the process. And again, that's often one of my answers for that is like taking more chances. Like you're either learning or you're getting better. So, love the answer. If real quick, we didn't, my last question is going to be like, where can people find you and your team? But in that, as well as the National, because this will drop the week of the National. And I know you guys said you're going to be set up, but like, where can people find you there? And
so we're going to be at booths 3304 and 3306.
Okay.
It's going to be kind of in that section around like RBI Crew, Indy Card Exchange, Sports Card Junction, kind of all those great guys.
Yep.
We're going to have a really nice setup. It's the first year ever that we're doing like a formal setup instead of just stand-up banners.
Yep.
So that's going to be really exciting. And, if you're in the area, you should be able to see us, and make sure you stop by, buy, sell, trade, consign, do it all.
Okay.
Excited to see everyone there.
Now, if people aren't going to the National and they want to find you guys, your team, where can people find you guys anywhere else?
So Consign with MC, our Instagram page is a great spot to start. We also have a really nice website that we talked about earlier, mcsportscards.com. Kind of learn a lot about our process with consignment if you're interested in consigning and everything. So, those two places are a great resource.
Cool. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I feel privileged to have you on here after all these years. So, appreciate you coming all the way out here from Boston and spending some time with us.
Well, I appreciate it, man. And again, you guys are doing great things, and I'm happy to be calling you a friend for the last 10 years.
Appreciate that, Mike.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. That's all I got for now, guys.